Okay, so just wanted to tell you the topic of the battle, and actually maybe I can ask Agatino to help me in this, to present the topic of the battle and what I would like to ask you to think and to follow in today's battle and today's class is that we are looking at some critical points of the use of technology in combination with innovation.
Right, good. So, sorry, we just tried to switch to the cable, but it's not working. So,
can you wait for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. 1 second. So for us, what is important is to try to, if you think of the last 2 classes, we were talking about technology, innovation, and the curve, you know, the cycle. Remember, what was it that I was telling you? Do you remember what we were talking about? Sorry? Gartner's, okay. And as well as the open innovation and closed innovation. And try to use this class, since you've had the battle, to see trends in the specific topic and to perceive, to try to identify the signals that show you the next coming trends, or maybe identify what would be the things that will be forecasting a change in this, and how do you use it to your advantage as people who are, you know, working in this field, okay? And critically observe what is coming out as a result from the discussions. All right, thank you.
So, just one practical thing. Can you, I think that for the presentations time, maybe if you can mute your microphone on your side, we will not get the echo returning. So if you can do this, it would be good. Aside from this, all right, so welcome to the people in Trento. The people of Nice already said hello. So I think we are already, probably the people in Trento have already seen this once, but now for you, in Nice, it will be the first. So the topic of the debate now is the smart cities. So we're comparing the model of the smart city and the model of the smart villages. So we have the 2 presentations ready. Without too much introduction, because I think you are very familiar with this, since we also saw each other last week, and the people in Trento should know this from the last time we had this discussion. I think we can start with the presentations, okay? So the smart city will go first, right? Okay? So
maybe to try here, this one.
Ah, okay.
Well, we will do.
So now they are not hearing us.
So, are you able to see the presentation?
No.
What do you do?
It's not seen. Well, it's too small.
Yes, in a sec.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, do you see it now?
This is not working anymore.
Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Right. So, yes, you should stand in front here.
And that's yes.
There will be
Not
people.
from there anymore. The light doesn't come
I want to mute it again.
Yeah, you see? It was working before, now it doesn't want. Or anyhow, we can leave it like this.
So, could be the key person. Sorry?
Ah, now it started. Okay.
Who does it? Okay, go ahead.
smart city from University of Costa. Our topic today is smart cities are the future, and we are here to convince you guys that smart city is way more better than smart villages. Our team members are Thomas, Heather, Ray, and Lee. My topic is about the medical system. One of the disadvantages of the village is that they don't have enough access to medical system. For example, village may have less than 1 or 2 medical facilities. So sometimes people want to have a treatment or something, they might need to drive 20 or 30 miles away to get to the hospital. That's very terrible because, to receive the care in a timely manner is crucially important for people's health and life. And according to a study, only 9% of the physician practice in rural area. However, there are 20% of population live in this countryside and the villages. Another serious problem of the village is that they don't have sufficient service for people who have some special needs. For example, some people may look for some specialty or maybe some surgery. They have no choice. They just need to go to the city and they seek the service. And think about that. How the people in Isola, a very small village, receive this kind of advanced medical machine is kind of unbelievable and not realistic. And the biggest issue is the fragility, like the local rural healthcare system usually really needs to be broken. Like once a doctor leaves or maybe the machine is broken, they will meet a lot of trouble. The people in this neighborhood, they may don't have the facility to receive other medical help. But however, it's a very common problem in this area. And also, the recruitment of a new doctor is very hard for people for community or village. And however, it's very essential, a very basic requirement for people. And also, we'll talk about some solution for this problem. One of the solutions is use telemedicine. Maybe in the future, we don't need to put the clinic or hospital in the rural area. Maybe the teacher, the doctor, they can be everywhere. They just use the 5G, use the internet connection, use some software. They can help people do some diagnostic stuff and also do some surgery. And actually, it's not fancy stuff because it's already achieved in this year. So I think it's also our solution for this problem.
Well, my teammate was talking about why we should choose the smart city or the smart village. Well, he talked about some important tips, and now we can look at the business and jobs. How someone can be helped if we choose the smart city, not the smart village. Well, let's see the business. Well, if you want to move to a smart city, or you can have so many options of your business. And if you want to, if you go to a smart village, there maybe you can do smart things with the agriculture or any stuff. I guess no. So we should choose the smart city. You have so many options of business. And let's think about a new idea. When you want to bring a new idea to your market, to the business. So if you want to apply this thing in a smart village, then you need infrastructure. You need transportation. You need so many network facilities and stuff. But if you consider the smart city, everything is there. The infrastructure is there, so you don't have to do that much. And also, it's easier to implement and also try how your business is gonna work. So if you are in the blue ocean, so I think your business is gonna work better in the smart city. And also there is a big market, you have the big customers, big population, so you can do better with your new idea. You can have the data, you have the customized security and stuff, you don't have to worry about that. So I think it's a better option to choose a smart city. Also the feasible advertising. Suppose I have implemented a new idea into a smart village, so I need marketing. So I don't want to market in a place where the hills are there, the mountains are there with no population. So I think it's a good idea to choose a smart city where population is there, market is there, and we have so much facilities over there. And also, if you think about jobs, so you can think about the options of remote jobs that will be if the smart village is there, the smart city is there. So there will be so many jobs which will be regulated by the robots and the autonomous systems and stuff. Still, there needs human power, the manpower. So there will be many jobs which require manpower. Suppose if you do a task by the robots, also you need human or manpowers to control, to system, to how to maintain that. So we need manpower. So the demand for jobs, I think, will be so much bigger in the smart city. So one should go to a smart city, not in a smart village. Also, I guess these are my points, and someone should choose the smart city. So another one.
Okay. So housing is no longer a problem in smart city. Why I said this, because there already exists some successful examples who have already solved this problem. Singapore. Singapore is a city with the second, actually it's a country. It has the second largest population density in the world, but also it is one of the top ranked hospitable cities to live in the world. So in Singapore, 80% of the people live in the public houses run by the Housing and Development Board of the government. They are specially designed for living, shopping, working, and education, and provide some medical service. Also, these buildings have some open area on their ground floor, so people can walk just across the building. And you may be familiar with the notion of satellite towns, but Singapore developed this notion into satellite districts. Within each district, there are hospital, libraries, restaurants, transportation stations, and all public services are available. But we know that there is no best, but always a better. Singapore and other cities are considering to integrate the traditional CBD with living places to complement their usage. So all our living demand and working demands can be satisfied 24 hours, 7 days a week. And they also plan for the underground space for the usage of like power and the resource supply, the sidewalks and the transportation, and also some other commercial use. So in this way, the future city can expand in a vertical way. to make full use of the limited space with the dense population. And for the transportation in the smart city, you may have heard about you may have seen in some scientific fiction movies that in the future the transportation in the city will not be only limited to the ground but also extend to the air, to the water, which makes people's commute faster than what we are now. And for different ways of transportation, specially designed runways are for the this has been proved to be efficient in Singapore, so it can be used and developed in the future city. And except for the intra-city transportation, smart city also have inter-city, cross-country, and cross-continent transportation solutions for people. And all these choices can be available within just a few minutes. But if you choose to live in a smart village, you have to plan in advance to get to the transportation junctions that only covers a few villages. That is time consuming, and some long distance airlines do not schedule a flight for some small airports because the demand is very small there.
Alright guys, I promise I'm the last one to talk about smart cities, to convince you about why smart cities are best. First I want to talk to you about diversity, and especially diversity in culture and diversity in entertainment. I think in smart cities you have access to everything. So you can go with your friends to the pub around the corner, but at the same time you can go bowling after like 5 minutes if you're boring of the pub, and after that you can go to karaoke, whatever. In smart villages, this is not possible in like the same building, the same area, and all of you live so close to each other relatively that it's just very, yeah, you can have very much diversity on very low, how do you say that, square meters, right? So that's a very important thing, I think, in smart cities, which is very relevant and very powerful. Another thing I want to talk about is security. So security in smart cities, you have to think about not about data security, that kind of stuff, privacy, no. Think about literal security, so policing, for example. Right now, how long does it take for the police to get to an emergency site when there's a call or whatever? This is very a thing that a lot of cities are struggling, a lot of villages are struggling with, because it takes a lot of time. And in smart cities, police can be anywhere instantly. And also, everything will be recorded and will be taken into account. So there will be sensors everywhere in smart cities, so they can just counteract to everything instantly, which is very important and makes living in smart cities much safer than, for example, in smart villages. I think that's all that we have to say for now, and I hope we convinced you about smart cities.
All right, thank you. Thank you for this. Let's have now the second team. Look, let's see if I can make this. Okay, the people from Trent, are you able to see the screen? Just give me an okay sign with your hands. Yes. Okay, good. So let the team speak now. Yeah, so it's up to you.
Okay, hello everybody. We want to speak about Smart Village. Our team is Pao, Juan, Lee, Gilan, and Lee Tazon. Could you please change the slide? Like this. Right now I want to speak about the education. can go to the next slide. It's a survey that shows that most of us go to the university just to guarantee our future and our future career, to find a good job. But do we need to go to a great place to guarantee our future job, to a great university that shows that we are studying in a great building? But next please. Maybe we just need some places, such as our learning centers in university, to just gather together and study our courses. Right now, instead of classes, we can just use the online open learning system, such as Coursera, which you can pass and get too many degrees in business, computer science, data science, and too many other topics. For example, you can get master degree from EDX from favorable university that you want. And you will not be worried anymore about the accommodation. And see, this is the schema of our village. So we can have a different learning center and laboratory, a small learning center and laboratory in different parts of the city, but we don't have any great university anymore that we should go to there, and we have a transportation problem and too many other problems. But right now, if you find a learning center near your residence, you can easily go there and study your courses. The next thing that I want to talk about is transportation. Yes, how we describe the cities by just the traffic jam and air pollution that it makes for us. But right now we can easily buy anything that we want online, and Amazon will send it to us, or Canada Drive will send it right to our residence. Or we can just go to the nearby stores, which have too many choices. And even right now, Amazon has too many lockers in different parts of the city, and you can just buy what you want from the Amazon and go to the nearby store which has the locker, Amazon lockers, and get what you have bought. Another important thing is that right now there's too many self-driving cars and autobuses, which you can use them for transportation, and no more driving, no more air pollution of the too many drivers, too many cars with just one passenger. And this is the consequence. Paris right now, the air pollution of Paris is like smoking 183 cigarettes per year. But see the Nice, the quality of the air in Nice is always great, and because the small city which has a great companies, great lifestyle, but it's much more clear and clean than Paris. Thank you so much.
So, hello everyone. My name is Juan, and today I'm going to be talking about healthcare in cybersecurity in the smart village. Thank you for that. So, to begin, I'm going to ask a question. What is the first thing we do whenever we get sick? We go to the hospital, right? And in some cases, like in China, for example, you may have to wait for like 2 months waiting for the doctor to treat you. Now, this is huge. This is very bad. That's why we are going to have a much more smart solution. And this begins with decentralization. So our model is there's a hospital in a highly dense population area, and all the people go to the hospital to get treated. What we are going to do here, what we are going to propose, is a decentralized network with small health systems, with small health like clinics spread around the area. And the advantages here will be less waiting time and the disease spread will be minimized. Now, why do I say this? Because if you are in a city and a disease starts spreading, there's so many people there in a small place, like the density of population is so big that the disease can spread very, very fast. Now, to understand our model, we have to think back 100 years ago, whenever most of the people used to live in villages instead of cities. Now, in this model, what used to happen is that whenever you get sick, there will be a doctor living in your village, and you will simply call the doctor, and the doctor will go to your place and take care of you. So the doctor goes to you when you are sick. Now, we're going to get that. We're going to achieve that exactly the same model, but using the technologies of nowadays. What we're going to need are wearables, like these here that you can see, big data, and 5G. And this is going to give us a very good healthcare system to all of us. Now, we believe that there's a huge amount of data of clinical people. So if you put together all the clinical data of all the people in the world, you will be able to develop the best machine learning algorithms. Now, by training these machine learning algorithms and using the data from your devices, from the wearable devices, we believe that you can assess when a person gets sick and decide what's the sickness, what is wrong. And by answering some questions and using the data from the wearables, you could tell if this person has a fever, a very high fever, or if it's allergic or whatever it is. But still, we are still going to need doctors. Everything is not going to be automatic. And thanks to 5G, we have incredible things going on in the world. And this is what I wanted to see this year. These are the things you can achieve with 5G. This is something that is developed in China, in where the 5G normally exists. And basically, someone, in this case, it's not a person. It's like a fake person. It's not a person. It's anyway. So you have a person here, and it's being operated by someone who is maybe 500 kilometers away. So if you could put these machines in the clinics that I talked to you about when I was explaining to you the decentralization, you could do anything. You wouldn't need a city. You wouldn't need a very big hospital in a very big city like, I don't know, Madrid, with huge queues and a lot of problems. You could give the people the same services as in the city, but while living in villages. And thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. This is my presentation.
Okay, next part will be the jobs. We always scared that artificial intelligence will steal our jobs away. That's not the case. It's true that some jobs are disappearing, but there are always new jobs emerging. So yeah, I highlighted that the jobs are changing, but they are not going away. And I listed 3 examples of the jobs that were emerging in the future. The first one is cyber offense analysis. Just like we have policemen right now, we need cyber offense analysis to detect and deal with the cyber crime criminals. And the digital currency advisor, just as we have financial advisors right now, we will have digital currency advisors in the future. Hypothetic interface designer, hypothetic technology is where you touch the screen and it will sense and get changed. So what will be the future of jobs? In the currently in the village we have a decentralized population. So it's true that we have decentralized workloads, but there will not be a problem because with the improved remote analysis security tools, the remote working can be quite common. It will be the common working style in our smart village. Thanks to the remote working, our working style will be quite flexible. So I will break down what does flexible working means. Flexible means currently we work in one company and we start in one location, but remote working, we can work for multiple companies and for multiple clients. So we can do projects in every company you want. And it's flexible and up to your choice. Currently, our salary are paid by your working time in hours. That means we are paid by how much time you spend in your office. But with remote working, there's no accurate tracking of your working time. So it's likely that our salary will pay by the result, not just by your time. So it's more result object oriented. Yeah, so when your work is done, you can just enjoy your leisure time and that's all.
Hey guys, I'm Tom. I'm going to present the smart housing future and the environment-friendly ecosystem. So we have few problems with big cities, like everything is crowded, like hospital, I don't know, government when you go to banks, and the housing price is very expensive if you want to buy a house, because everything is concentrated in one area, opportunity, jobs, university, so it makes demand very high and price very high also. Also, as one talked about, diseases are easier to spread because people are very close to each other. This is what it looks like in a smart city. Everything is centralized. And what we want to achieve is a medium, like it's also centralized, but it's also decentralized by using a principle called Hoffman Coding algorithm. Basically, everything is perfectly balanced. And every house, it's like a small community or a smart village. This is what it looks like in a big city, like smart cities, because everywhere you have people, like it's recorded, like whenever you go, like tourist sites, you have a lot of people. Our smart houses will have efficient energy management, like if you forget to switch off the lights or any devices that you forgot to switch off when you go to sleep. We have smart trash sorting system. Our trashes are managed autonomously. They sort the trash, we put in the garbage, and there's a system that package the trash and give it to the collection truck. Also, we are less likely to be stolen by our neighbor. So we have greater autonomy because of the AI involved. Also, we have no parking problem. Like we will have our own electric car and our own charge for the electric car. So transportation is not a solution. It's not a problem because everyone has a car and it drives autonomously. If you want to go to a smart village, the prices are low because there's low demand and everything is spread evenly. Also, we will have everything electric. We will have places for rooms, personal gym, personal virtual reality rooms, personalized school, and we will build the houses closer to the environment. Also, since the prices are very low, we can accommodate a lot of companies, and the companies will spread the offices, and everywhere will have the same companies. Like I'm living in one village, I don't have to go to the other village for working, for example, at Google. Yeah. This is what I want it to look like, the trash management system. Since our smart house manage the trash sorting, and there's a truck who collect the trash. Then every trash are recycled locally, by the node. Just program, for example, in Lebanon, the government estimates that the trust will be the underestimates the trust system, and actually the government have overcrowded trust, and they have to build a model of trust. They didn't manage to recycle everything. This is what it looks like in smart villages. Everything connected, and the transportation are done in constant time because the cities are designed in a way that if you want to reach from one place to another, you don't have to search paths or other things. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the last part. I think you have already know all these things about the smart village. Let's go to the life of smart village. Okay, I think everybody knows what's the life about living in a big city or a village. In a big city, we live crowded, it's noisy even at the midnight, and we can get a lot of sunshine because of the crowded. But if we live at the village, we can get all the nature resources. And there is the question about everybody knows if you get enough money, you will buy a house at the village, right? And but you should have a park. Why? Because all the resources at the big city. And now our village is smart enough. We share all the resources. So we don't need a car. We live in a smart village, and we have a special silence space to speak. How about our neighbors? Maybe you think live in a big city, we get close to the neighbors, but your neighbors always change because it's easy to move live in a big city. But if you live in a village, you know the house is old. Maybe your neighborhood has already been your neighborhood as your grandfather. So old house means you have old neighbors and old friends. And this is the life in the smart city. Let me put this is the smart city. And this is a community. Why people choose this kind of community? Because maybe they're near to the famous campus and the big hospital and the commercial group. But if you live in the smart village, you don't need to complete the house where you live. The location is not that important because you share everything on the internet. Okay, let's go to the leisure time. If you want to hang out with your friends, what kind of activities you can take if you live in the big city? Just like you can go to the nightclub, theaters, karaoke, or another place. Just moving from a room to another. Because you can find a place outside to get together at the big city, right? But if you live in a village, you have a huge land to take all your activities to one day. Like you can make music festival. Okay. And you may ask, maybe this is far away from smart. No, we have the bandwidth which is richer space. Like this. If you don't want to go out, even if you live at a village, you can use AR or VR to hang out with your friends at your own home because we have 5G already. So If the village is large enough, why don't you choose live there? Thank you.
Okay. So, now I will first move the camera so that we have a panoramic view of the room here in Nice. Okay, so let me cut off this one.
I don't know.
Okay, very well. So now, thanks to both teams for presenting. Okay, thank you, Sia. Now, I would ask from the people of Trento to start coming with a few questions. So, I think it's interesting we have seen some points that the two teams presented were also the same that we had presented in Trento, that the teams were presented in Trento. Some elements changed the size. Okay, so they're moved from before they were in the city, now they're divided by request. So I would ask the people from Trento to start coming with some questions and try to facilitate the fact that the students here each should go deeper. So sometimes then, if you want, try to ask them why they chose a specific topic, how do you think this is going to work, and so on. Okay?
All right, we will do. Yes, I think we can. Maybe something I will say as a comment. So that our students have been through this battle, and the approach has been a little bit different. And I think what we will try to do is to try to see with the questions first to maybe understand better the statements that the students in Nice made. And then we will try to give you a bit of an angle that we saw things here. Okay? Is this good enough?
Very well, yeah.
All right.
Also, everyone here, unless you are taking notes, it's on to remove your computers because it's distracting, I think. Okay? Thank you. Okay, yeah. So,
All right. So, who wants to start on our side? With questions to the team, to the presentations, okay? Okay. There. You start with one.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
I got a question for smart villages. From your presentation, we didn't hear how you can handle safety. I think that's an important topic because since you are distributed, can you please discuss about it a bit more?
Did you hear the question?
Yes. Pretty
Okay.
well.
Yeah, I talk about open for the algorithm. What I think we want to do spread coverage evenly for each station. So every resolution.
We don't hear this well. Can we have somebody speak closer to the microphone? Thank you.
The point is that every resources are spread evenly. Even with policemen, the companies like you have Google, what they're going to do is to split everything into smaller nodes of villages. So that way, policemen know that they can handle this number of people in each of this node. I think that's the point, like spread evenly everything.
Okay, so if I can try to just, I do this in Trento very often as well.
Yes, you do.
I try to capture, it is most for the people here. I try to capture the point and condense it again so that the message is clear. So what you're saying is that the safety in your scenario, in your idea, is resolved, the problem of safety, by spreading also the police.
Yes.
So instead of having one single police station in the city, which is able to respond quickly because it's one big station in a big city,
Yeah.
you have smaller stations in smaller villages.
Yes.
Is your point? Okay. Yes,
I don't agree because right now we're spreading and it's not we think about future.
Yeah, because right now it's not having the algorithm and they don't have the technologies. So that's why.
But still, we don't have the manpower to have enough police for the whole village. If you're not like smart city, you don't have.
Yes, because we have enough powers.
Okay, sorry. Can I just summarize this debate so far? I think if what he is saying, the big most things. Actually, can I ask you one thing? Can you, when you are not speaking, can you put the microphone just over the screen? Because otherwise, not fair. Thank you. So, okay. So, saying is, this is something also right? Gotcha. The question is,
It's not so simple what he's asking. It doesn't know.
sorry?
Switched off.
I'm asking you to have the microphone when you're not speaking.
Yes.
You're not doing.
But it's very difficult.
Okay, so the question is there.
If I try, it takes me 5 minutes to switch it on.
His answer is a technological answer. So he's saying once we have the algorithm.
Wait, I can try to do it by.
We try it from there.
So the system will be solved. And your argument was this is not the case because we're not seeing already that the staff is not enough. Already, even in cities, police stations are understaffed. So, in other words, I think the question that turns back to you is the following. How do you make sure, how do you think that just an algorithm that balances the resources is going to solve a problem where the core issue is that you don't have enough people? Is it enough or not?
Because this is software.
I think since we're in a smart city age, we will have some technologies that will enable us to, like smart robots, like
Who wants to present
robots that
the next
replace
question?
policemen, like what Google are doing with Boston Dynamics.
Who was
They
on
have
the
robots
that
who
way?
can walk, who can fight, martial art, they can shoot. That.
But then we are going into a more
Yeah? Who else was on this battle? Okay, you? Okay, can you think that
question
the
that is
other
going
question?
I don't know, so whatever in the future.
After this.
Yeah,
which
which one? Well, this is the morality question about
Yes.
like AI robots, right? For example, when is that robot going to make a choice to shoot a victim? You know?
First, from what you're saying, you have exactly the same problem with the autonomous driving, and that doesn't mean that you cannot continue investigating and trying to find it out.
Hard
And
to
secondly,
We don't have autonomous driving right now.
so you know,
that's
let me answer first. And I was answering first to your morality question, that there are also other topics that we are dealing with and that we are allowing autonomous cars to exist, even though these morality questions still exist, and that hasn't stopped us. First thing, and the second thing, he's saying that we are going to use an algorithm
We can
to
have a
to
proposal
organize the
for a
police staff
solution next
to
time.
the enforcers of the law and put them in the areas where they are most needed.
To have a
From
better.
up to this point, they haven't done it. So we should try to do an experiment and find out if this can work or not. Because maybe if you can organize your resources correctly in the most efficient way, you can carry this out.
But I'm saying if this algorithm exists, why is not everyone using it right now? Because we have ways of organizing our police in every city, in every country, and it's not working. Why are we not using your algorithm right now?
Because they haven't implemented it yet.
But you're saying a call to you?
So, I think this is the point. The point is the following. They're saying we can investigate deeper into this and we can try to improve the status. Okay? So what they're saying is something, if I can try to rephrase again, is this.
By rephrase.
Their argument, then it's up to you to demolish it, is that the distributing resources in a decentralized node makes the whole system more effective than just distributing them in a centralized system. Okay? So what they're saying is that the centralized system, in this idea of the city, has some problems that even if you try to distribute the resources and to allocate the resources smartly in the centralized system, the fact that it's centralized makes it too difficult to manage. Well, the decentralization helps with making this work. So the reason why we're not doing it, in their view probably, is that we are not living in a decentralized society.
But that is also not true because there are villages now who are decentralized.
Okay? And what is the
No,
problem?
but they are not doing what we are proposing. That's different. Villages nowadays they don't use any algorithm that he has mentioned. So it's not true.
You're saying now that the problem comes from centralization, but that it's not the case. That is not the case.
No, we're saying that if you decentralize the people and you spread the population so that you have less density of people in the places, and you apply his algorithm for organizing the police officers, you may be able to offer even more protection than nowadays.
Okay,
which is different.
Okay, I think you're starting to get in a circle. So we'll stop you here for a second. I will want to go back to Trento to try to see if the question is, first, if the question was answered according to you, and second, if it was not, how to follow up. I already see a few hands raising from Trento.
Yes, and we have a comment here that we wanted to
Yes.
make, okay? Who wants to make the comment? Okay, Sergio?
The smart cities inside mentioned that villages right now are decentralized. Why do you think this is true? Because villages are under the same government as the country they are part of, which means that there is a common law that governs the country, and ultimately it means that villages are not decentralized. So I think there's a discrepancy between what the smart countryside is proposing than what villages are right now.
Okay, thank you. And I can try to it again. Is saying the fact that the villages now don't represent a decentralized system. They represent the periphery of a centralized system because they're all under the same management, which is the state. Okay? So what he's saying is that he doesn't get your, let's say, response because their solution is to say we have to try something new. Something new is completely decentralizing this, while the current system is not working. Do you get this point now?
Yeah, but how is it then? It's going to be the same for the smart villages in the future, right? Because it's also governed. So I don't understand how.
Mostly for you to answer.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the algorithm, like decentralized things.
I think you're supposed. I suggest you that you think of this in a different way. Don't think of it in terms of the algorithm, okay? Because the algorithm seems to be like a magic wall. Okay, you apply the algorithm and the problems are resolved. Think of it in a systemic view. Yes, please.
Thomas, I think in your city it's like this. It's a one great tower, and too many people live in this tower, and there is a police station near this tower, and because all the people live in this tower, you can say that you can prepare the safety and security for these people. Yes.
Yeah. So I understand this problem. So very nice. But in the smart cities of the future, this tower will have the police station. We were talking about verticality, right? The towers are vertical. We have everything in that tower already. We have so much diversity in that one tower that we don't need to have a police station next to us. Because there is one in the tower.
So each of your tower have a police station, yeah?
Police station, hospital, school.
Okay, so you say to all the people living in this tower, you should stay in this tower to keep your security. So it's a prison for the people who live in this tower?
No, of course not. They can go wherever they want because we have a police station everywhere.
Okay, just think about it. We can make your tower a little bit. We want to expand your tower. Just as a village. A small part of the city have we expand your tower. Do not make a tower. We need small houses, and same as your tower, we have a police station in that area.
Okay, so I think that what he is saying is you're muddying the waters because if you're saying that each tower, okay, each vertical element contains a bit of everything, it's not too different from a decentralized view where each tower, just instead of being vertical, becomes flat and it becomes a village itself.
I disagree because in a tower it's all about the efficiency. But everything is so much closer together than the village.
Okay, and what are the benefits of this? I'm asking.
That everything can be more efficient. Like police can get somewhere faster. You can be treated more
The
faster.
faster just by using the elevator to goes up. You could walk, but just.
Thomas, what happens if you decide to leave that tower and go somewhere else?
But then you'll get helped in the closest tower, because there will be a tower everywhere.
So, how many police officers, police enforcement do you have there? And secondly, if you have that many, that in every single tower you have police stations, you have enough law enforcement force to put them in the villages. So you are.
But now you're going back to my question, because I'm saying in a smart city there's enough room for that many. You were saying that you were needing also.
Okay, I will try to keep this point. I think it's valid for both. I will try to keep this point, but change the question a bit to keep it more tight to the topic, okay? And then I will also want to see if there are some comments here in Bengal. I think the key point that you are addressing now is that of scalability, okay? Because the thing that I'm picking up is that you are saying, yes, we know the cities can scale very well, okay? While villages are harder to scale, because the moment in which you scale the multiplicity of villages, you have the problem of connecting all of them, and this becomes an exponential problem the more nodes you have, right? But what they are pointing out to you is that the city has the same problem. When the city scales too much, the system becomes too complex. So, I will put the following question to you. For you, the question is, how do you avoid the complexity of the city to overwhelm it from functioning, okay? And to you, the question is, how do you make sure that having more villages in a situation in which the population grows doesn't lead to a systemic collapse? Because now you are too dispersed, you are too distributed, you are too decentralized, okay? So maybe take 1 minute to think about what could be an answer, and then you can try to speak, okay? And in the meantime, from time to time, if people want to have follow-ups, I think it's you can start gathering questions and then translate them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's activated.
It's muted?
No, it's activated. You can talk it now.
If you mute it then so that we discuss something. So, do you want to draw some conclusions from this? Do you find relevant the way how are they looking at the problems? What do you think? Yes. Yes, exactly. I think they are not really into the scenario the way we had it. So this is one thing that I'm identifying. They're much more into what is being written and where technology is going to go, but they're not really thinking of a vision on the topics that are actually topics bigger than the concrete technology, right? Okay, that have implication on all aspects of life. They went into transportation, health, and everything, but they don't see it as a way of living in this new world. They see it more as the concrete examples of that technology, maybe 5 years from now, or a little bit in the track, okay? So, for sure, the way to be able to project exponentially and also to think in terms of how this has a rounded view is different.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you, yes.
Right, so the deep right, well, let's have respond, then we get some comments from you, okay? Okay, good, so who wants to start? Yeah, please, cities, please. Speak very loud because I have to hear you from there.
I want to go back to the former question because it's related to your question. If you want to decentralize the building, to flatten the building, it's like splitting the tower and not split the tower and then distribute the all units to separated villages. But our idea is to bring these units together, which they can interact in a very quick speed. They can respond to each other. But if you put this units in a decentralized way, it will cost much more time to respond with each other. And for the complexity, each unit actually is with the same complexity. So our idea is to put these units in a centralized way, as opposed to your idea of the
So you're saying a unit itself is not much more complex than technical smart village, but putting all these units together is not complex at all.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you're managing the complexity because a centralized system, because of its nature, because of its closeness, is simpler to manage. Just because it has less of these connections to keep track of, and by the fact that everything is close together to each other, you're maximizing the diversity. So these connections that create themselves naturally are able to generate a lot of value. Okay, so your answer?
Okay, so what we are saying is that we want to give the density of population of each smart village the same. So if for any chance a village suddenly
Wonderful technology.
We can't hear you.
Who is it? Can somebody from our team? Yes, you were saying. No, we sent a message on the Telegram. He pays attention.
No, proprio morto. Fast enough. We lost your audio. Like in 5 minutes.
It's like watching the movies, with no
Okay.
sound.
Okay, fine.
Thank you. Were you able to hear the answers?
No.
Only the second one.
Okay, so can you guys the second one?
Yeah, so the way we're going to address the problem of too many people in one village, in one node, is by redistributing the people. So if one village has too many people, then we move them to the other villages by allowing them to choose there. And secondly, I was also pointing out that our friends from the smart cities have the same problem. Because if you have a tower in the smart city where you have, let's say, 100 people and 20 police officers, what happens if these 100 people, they get children and then there are 500 people? You need more police officers. So we have the same problem.
Okay.
So,
okay, quick reaction. So don't just focus on police officers, please. Because
we can redistribute as well to another tower, and it will be even simpler than a smart village because it's closer.
So I just make you notice one thing. If you want to make a point, you need to make your point clear and distinct from the other team. Okay? This is a suggestion in how you debate. So try to maximize your difference from the other team. Okay, can we have a reaction from Blanco also, or a question from Blanco?
Question. Who had the question? You had a question on the villages.
Yeah, no, I have.
Or on the city. All right.
I have. Hello?
Oh, wait.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question related to overcrowding as well. For smart villages, you said that in fact cities have like traffic jam problems, etc. But I think you have to think that smart cities could solve the problem of traffic jams and overcrowding, etc., with the smart technologies, I don't know, implementing transportation services and such. That way it wouldn't be much different from your proposal of transportation in the context of villages. And so how do you think your proposal is better in this way?
Thank you. In other words, why is it better to relocate from one village to another instead of relocating to one building to another? It seems to be simpler to relocate from one building to another.
We want to have fewer transportation.
Okay.
It's not. We do not make a sci-fi video to how to transport people. So if we, the point is that how we want to make less, make fewer transportation. Okay. Even to traveling from two villages, this is something that you cannot stop. They should travel, but if we have less travel, for example, too many people, we can see too many cars, just one passenger in each car, go to California each day to buy something, and they make a traffic jam in the streets. But if they just buy all the things that they want from the catalogue drive, there's one truck that brings all the things and gives you in front of your house. This is the reason that we think by making this spree and stop buying by ourselves and go to every places, we make fewer traffic.
Okay.
But the point of the transportation between two villages, it's something that you cannot forbid people to do that or find any science fiction thing for solve this issue. That is something that people want.
Okay. Thank you. Was the question answered? Because I think it's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, more or less, I think. Yes.
Okay, all right. So, do we have other questions still for Benko?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, please.
How do you both teams deal with inequalities? In particular, I think it's more like focused on the decentralized point of view from the smart villages. How can you deal with the inequalities, which, for example, different economic structures can be?
Okay, I will try to rephrase this a different way, which is a key point in this debate. When talking about inequalities, we're also talking about creating silos cultures, okay? So, you know, that, I mean, historically, it hasn't been a problem, but when you have smaller towns and smaller villages, people tend to form communities which are close, okay? And they tend to aggregate with similar people and just keep being together with similar people. And this creates inequalities because you have one village which becomes super rich and one village which maybe becomes super poor, just because people hang around mostly with each other. So this is the question mostly for you. His question rephrased for you. His question rephrased for you is how do you avoid this in the city? Because in this city, you're seeing this at the scale of the neighborhood. And we're seeing this with the problem of gentrification that we're talking about. So what do you think are possible strategies to start getting out of this loophole? Okay? Of inequalities in the city and of stagnation in the village.
Okay, so as my friend said before, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take big companies such as Google, and we're going to split them in nodes in the other villages.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the whole point of this is to keep the richness of each village as similar as possible. So the answer is by using the algorithm and this. I know you don't like it, but it's not, I mean it's one thing that we have and they don't. So
I think if I can try to rephrase your point, because it's not so much about the algorithm. What you are saying to me is that you can achieve diversity. When we think about diversity and we think about having a variety of opinions and a variety of points of view, you can achieve this even with smaller numbers. I think this is what we're trying to say, because you're saying if you have companies which are fragmented, you will have multiple companies which are heterogeneous in each village.
Yeah.
So this ensures that there is some diversity.
Yes, and so you will get so you will not think, okay, I'm gonna go to village A because I'm gonna be richer than if I go to village B, because that's not gonna be possible.
Okay, so in this sense, your idea of the algorithm is to create something that balances the situation,
Exactly.
which doesn't favor one node over the other, and keeps the balance low. Okay. What about your answer?
I think the easy answer will be that the problem is the same for basically for both, so we can also use the same answer, but then on a scale of towers instead of meters.
Right, but to me, the question for you is also has one more follow-up, which I think is a key point. So what is this, what does the city environment offer to solve this problem? Or what added value does the city offer in solving this problem? Yes?
And then our advantage of this problem is that the information, the share of information is more quicker than you, because the villages, the rhythm of the villages they develop in different speeds because the information delay. Even if that you like assign talents to every village, like if you develop some technology that benefits the villagers, you need time to build the infrastructure, and after they have achieved the success, there will be a delay for another village to follow them. But in the city, everyone can learn from the people nearby. They can see what they do every day and learn from them.
Okay, I think to summarize the points, the question again was about inequalities and diversity. Okay, so to summarize the points, your answer is the fragmentation of companies and of employers and of different work styles and different life opportunities, let's say, for people in the various villages creates, let's say, doesn't make us go back to how things were before, because now we have villages which at a smaller scale are still more diverse than what they used to be. Their answer is also is one more step. They're saying the fact that things are close to each other creates a cross-contamination in the city, which is even accidental, where you can use the same idea of balancing the people to make sure there is no inequality. But the fact that people are close together makes it so that things are, there's an extra added value, which is just the fact that everybody is close together and they can exchange more freely.
But that doesn't solve the problem, because if you have the whole point of the smart city is that you have all of the things very, very close by. That's the whole point of it. That was what you were arguing before when we were talking about the law enforcement. And if you can choose between all the companies, you will choose those companies that will make you richer. And at some point, the companies will be aware of this, and inequalities will start. If you have studied in this school that is more expensive or is private, then you have more chances to go to the company A that gives you a very high salary than if you have gone to a public school. And that's what happens now. That's what happens nowadays. So that's not solving the problem. That's actually created more inequality, because you have the rich things and the poor things in the same place in your smart city. While we are making sure that this doesn't happen, we cut it, we separate the resources across the whole land.
So you create the problem before it even exists, instead of building the problem.
I'm solving the problem. I know that this happens because that's what happens in nowadays.
Right on the smart cities, and then we
Creating one rich village, one poor village, or
no, Thomas, that's not what I said. I was saying exactly the opposite. We're going to have equally villages that have the same resources, the same companies. So if you want to choose a village, you won't choose village A because you think that you will be richer. You will choose villages for other reasons, but not because of the money.
Okay, in that same village, you also have that division.
No, because we are making sure that it doesn't happen. You are saving everything.
Okay, let me try to summarize the point. So his answer basically is saying, I think your point is valid in saying you are just pushing the problem away. So you're not solving it, you're just delegating to a lower level. Instead, your answer is that of saying, we are moving it away from a different point of society. It's not more about the money, which is what creates the inequality especially in the city scenario. It starts becoming about making a choice of where to live.
No, I'm saying that we are, so let's just focus on this very simple idea. I'm gonna make sure that we live in a smart village. You won't choose any village for the resources.
Okay.
They are gonna be equal.
Okay, this
So
is very.
that's exactly what I want you to get. Like,
okay.
You are not gonna choose one village with respect to the other because they are gonna be equal.
Okay. Clear. So now let's do this. I want to get the last question from Trento, and then you will be drawing conclusions. Okay, each of you will draw conclusions after the debate to underline what were the key points, to underline why you are still the best choice, you think you are still the best choice, and then we draw conclusions separately here in Nice and there in Trento, okay, on this exercise. So, can we get one more question from Trento, and then we move to the...
No, you have to push the green light on the thing.
Green light.
The slide, no, up. No, it has to be up. The slide,
That's the microphone.
I have a question which is still a bit related to inequality.
Can you stand up just so that people see you?
Okay. I have a question which is a bit related to inequality for the smart city team. So how are you going to deal with rental prices problem in smart cities? Because a problem that we are having in centralized structure nowadays, so in big cities, is related to the housing prices, which is very, very high, and this creates inequality within the city because the richer can afford to live in a high quality apartment, but the poorer people live in low quality apartment and in places where crime rate is higher. So how are you going to solve this problem?
Okay, thank you. It's the question of gentrification we have discussed. So what is your
not just
response?
Well, first of all, I don't really think that the problem is very much smart city related, because in smart city related we have enough apartments for everyone anyways. Like this problem, for example, is huge in Dublin, for example, but one of the problems in Dublin is that they don't go in the air, and that's why all the houses are so expensive there, and it becomes impossible to live. So in a smart city, it would actually like...
Okay, so your answer to this question is, his question is about cities, it's not about smart cities. So you're saying the smart element can be the trigger that allows to solve these problems. There are a number of solutions that have been discussed before that would be able to solve this. Okay, thank you. Now, I will do this, just because of time, because I think we had a bit of less time for debate, just because we had a lot of time to set up. But I would ask you to take a couple minutes to draw conclusions, okay, to prepare conclusions for your team that you will present very briefly in 1 minute, okay? To try to underline, yes, so take time to synchronize, and to the people of Trento, of course, the point is you will then be required to vote, okay? So,
yes.
I mean, they don't have to work. You will vote for one side or the other, okay? I use the microphone just for 1 minute. If you need to speak, you can speak freely.
Yeah, actually we can decide. So let me, I want to actually say a few things. You did they mute it?
No, I muted it.
You muted, okay. So my point was, let's try to draw for ourselves a few conclusions from this experience. What do you think? What do you think they are? You are doing that they are not doing?
Having a vision.
Yes.
I think the main problem is that they closed an open debate because the way we approach it is, okay, think 200 years in the future, 300 years, and they present it to the studies now, and they counteract villages now and cities now, instead of thinking in like some way of how we can be in the future. So it limited debate to the facts of what reality is today instead of thinking of what it could be in the future.
Okay, so one thing is to be able, and I'm asking you this, also to try to map this on yourselves. You know, to think what is happening to this class. I think you are not realizing that you have been developing some competences that if you have a situation like this, you see clearly the difference. One is how to think, to be able to really think conceptually, philosophically, but also with regards to putting your expertise on these topics. And this is called vision, okay? And how to be able to think forward, to think in the future, not to be limited to your own
Whenever you are ready, you tell me that you are ready.
Like
Yes. Okay, are you ready? Not yet. Okay, just one more minute, okay? Or you can start. Okay, good.
No, we want to.
Okay, I think we are ready for doing the conclusions here. Do you hear us? It's all good? Okay, fantastic. All right, so villages, want the conclusions?
So finally, we're gonna tell you why it's much better to choose a smart village than a smart city. So first, you have the balancing that we just explained before. You won't have better conditions in one place or another, so all the richness will be as equal as possible, which is something that we need nowadays, equality. Now, freedom of choice to live. You can choose to go to whatever village you want. Then the price of the square meter is much cheaper than in the smart city. So the rent will also be much more cheaper, which are problems that we have now in big cities such as Dublin. And finally, if you live in a smart city with very high buildings and you get a fire in the building, the whole building can fall and you can kill a lot of people. While since we have a very big, very extensive floor, a very extensive soil. If a house catches fire, it won't spread to the other areas. So it's much more safe.
All right, thank you.
Our solution is that the balance is not a solution. The centralization is the solution. Because if we restructure all the things is already there, you cannot destroy that and review that in the village. So we can keep balance. The only reason why the city is very crowded, that's because people choose city to live. It's not because city is bad. They choose the education, choose the market, choose the environment, choose the diversity, choose everything, so they live here. If there's no city, those billion people where they live in village, you also need to build a lot of new buildings to house them, something like that. That's our kind.
More expensive.
Yes, more expensive, and it's not very achievable, I think.
All right, thank you. Now, I will ask the people in the middle.
No, don't stop.
And so, Milena, it's up to you to moderate the voting. Should I be asking who votes for what, or Milena, are you into it?
Hello, can you hear? Yes, okay. So I think one of the challenges here has been really to be following the debate from a distance. So we will not, simply because it's not the same, okay? We all noticed when you are far away. So you cannot debate. I just wanted to make a comment that debate is about sharing opinions, views, positions, but it's also in the whole approach, because part of the communications comes through the body language, through the expressions on the face, and this is something that we lose in the distant communication, as well as being able to to feel what the other team or person, the dynamics within are there. So with this brackets, this was just a comment. I think the best thing would be, since we didn't have a break, and I am trying to be also mindful of people's time, and it's just before Christmas. We will proceed on concretely. I will ask our class to give, to raise their hands on who wants to support, who believes the statement and, let's say, the presentation was convincing and maybe closer to the vision that we also saw for the team that was working on the cities. Who wants to support that team? And we will have a raise of hands. Okay, all right. Who wants to support the team on the villages? Okay, let me count. All right, so. Sorry?
Now, is it clear with who won from your side?
From our side is the cities that won. What was the comment? We didn't hear. What was the comment? We didn't hear. What was the comment? We didn't hear.
No, I said we never had such explosions of enthusiasm.
No, we didn't hear what exactly they said in the enthusiastic response.
I don't think he even knows what he said.
All right. Well, would somebody wants to make, and I think the point is more not that the teams didn't work hard in presenting and trying to find, let's say, the right conclusions or points of reference. It was more that to us it sounded that the presentation of the cities were more cohesive and was really following a logic of, the defending a vision of a smarter city. Maybe this is something for you to discuss.
Yes.
Did you want to make a comment to us?
Yeah, I just want to, well, first, for participating in this, I think now we will soon close the space bridge between Italy and France, but I think it would be good for the class in Trento to reflect on what they saw, and especially to reflect on how this was different from what you normally have in the classes in Trento. So try to look for differences to me in the history of.
We already have a way to discuss. We talked about it, so we will find.
We lost you.
We have a plan. We just want to wish you Buon Natale to all of you there. Okay, to the teams, and thank you, Cedric. Thank you so much. Also for the opportunity to work together, and all of the students. Hang up, please, and also hang up. Can you exit my account?
Oh, yes, sorry.
All right. Okay, so we will conclude. So just a couple more points. One was related, we said, to the vision and being able to discover the trends. Another one, being able to debate on topics of any, that come. So think about your ability to distinguish between what is being given as a topic and being able to look at the opposite sides, or at least to find the arguments on different aspects of whatever is being given as a topic. And I think you need to really try to put yourself, when you started the class, you are not able to do this, I can tell you for sure. Okay? So this is one competence that you have developed. Maybe you didn't pay so much attention, but it's grown on you. Another thing, for sure, you made much better presentations, even in terms of presentations. So this is a good learning experience, and this will take you for the next classes to other places. I'm sure I will be proud to have call you as my student. Honestly, I will do, and I will look. You will see the examples there yet to come in the other classes, in the upcoming BD lab or startup lab, in the upcoming summer schools, in the I&E studies, and so on and so forth. Okay? And the last thing is that I think we are also much better now in managing time and being also objective with our positions, because it's one thing to be asked to present a view. We talked last time about cognitive biases, and that we usually have a natural, let's say, compassion or a natural commitment to something, to a topic that is based on our cultural experience, on our background, on our age, on where we come from, on our knowledge of the things and all of that. But to be able to distinguish this from objectively where, the position is being argumentated and justified is also extremely important. This is the critical thinking element. You heard how many times, 2 or 3 of the students were really starting to be obsessed with the policeman, with the algorithms, with the other things, so they cannot jump out of that picture. So at least 4 or 5 conclusions I would draw for myself. I've already done this, and I think you can be, I just wanted to point them out, to put in perspective this experience of the class, because next time I will not be here, which is the last class on Wednesday, but I will be here for the exam session. And we will have an interesting exam session. No, I think it will be fun. So next time what we will do is we are having a class for Q&A. So you can discuss, you can ask, this is really the point. It's just that I have another commitment, and I found out yesterday that I need to travel. So you can ask the questions both on the type of exam, and also if you want to draw conclusions on the material, if you need additional stuff to prepare. And I think you have already seen the template, right? Has everyone seen the template? Okay. So we will provide a list of timings, because each one of you most probably will have 10 minutes. So one would be on the battle reports, and the other one would be on the personal topic that you want to develop. And it will be really a presentation the way you want to design it, and it will be us talking to you, okay, and trying to understand, have a discussion of maybe 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how we distribute it. I will talk to Lorenzo, because my idea was maybe we can do, because we have 2 days for the exams, maybe we can even do the 13th, because that might be an option, I don't know. Anyhow, 2 days of 10 minutes per person. This means for us to be listening all day, basically, session. But there is the opportunity also, we will have this on the 4th and 5th of February. So it could be that you also, if you want, you can just come in the February. Okay, let's see how we manage, because we're about 50. Last year when we did this, we were a smaller group. But I really believe this is a better type of exam than having to give you top questions to answer, the theory. This is a way for you to interpret the theory. And that's it. Okay? Thank you so much for being a great class, and looking forward to see you at the exams. Okay?